Greetings, Oitlins, greetings, lambs. This is about some history of the Ku Klux Klan that you won't be likely to find anyplace else, at least some of it. First place, Ku Klux Klan was something created so that the Vatican can control Protestants in Dixieland. The emblem, what do you call the logo of it, and the name of it come from Switzerland. Ku Klux had something to do with the bell, a word that's used in Kuhglocken. It sounds like Kuhglocken. Glocken is a bell that the lead cow wears, so you can always track where he's located, where the herd is located, or a goat. So Ku Klux, of course, Klan is just appealing to the Scots-Irish population that predominated in the southern side in the war. I saw a book of Southern songs, and presumably these were collected by agents provocateurs, but I would say at least 1 out of 3, maybe 2 out of 3 songs mentioned the fact that the Southrons, it's called S-O-U-T-H-R-O-N, that's a Scottish word, Southron, that they're fighting against the English, that it's the Gael, G-A-E-L, fighting against the English. These songs, you don't hear about that in the history. So there was a lot of Scottish against English pride involved on the southern side, and it was being stirred up by the agent provocateurs who composed these songbooks. So just to get to whatever the war aims really were, it had nothing to do with slavery issue. That was just a way of stirring people up to fight. So anyway, Ku Klux Klan from the point of view of the naive members, it was to protect, the government was given over to the freed slaves after the war, and they could do whatever they wanted to the women and to the property of the white people who weren't allowed to vote. So it was offered to those disenfranchised white people as a way of defending themselves against the new black legislatures who were very wanton and abusive. But it was actually organized as an arm of the Vatican. So the costumes of the Ku Klux Klan are identical to the costumes worn by Spanish Catholics. You can find them on Google Images with the pointy caps and the drapery around the head and the white gowns and stuff. So enough of that. Let's get on to Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy was Attorney General from 1961 to 64. J. Edgar Hoover was the head man of the FBI, and the FBI had been formed by Napoleon's great-grandson. One of the Napoleons had formed the FBI back in around 1910 or 1900, somewhere around there. And the head of it was J. Edgar Hoover, who was a fake identity for, I think, someone in the Roosevelt family. Bobby Kennedy and JFK were both fake identities. The whole Kennedy family was a fake identity. But Bobby Kennedy was the Attorney General, and J. Edgar Hoover, apparently, according to the report, wanted to leave the Klan alone. It was already an arm of surveillance used by the Vatican, but for some reason Bobby Kennedy wanted J. Edgar Hoover to, I think he wanted him to disband it, but instead J. Edgar Hoover actually infiltrated and took over the entire Ku Klux Klan all over the United States. He didn't want to, but it took several years for Bobby Kennedy to get him to take any action. He stonewalled him and refused to act for several years. And finally, when he did, they took over the whole Ku Klux Klan. So today, we assume that the Ku Klux Klan is run by the FBI, or whoever has infiltrated the FBI. So, now the Greensboro Massacre was in 1979. What happened, the FBI took someone who was in jail, and they said, if you become one of our agents and spy and agitate the Ku Klux Klan to commit crimes, we'll take you out of jail and set you free, but you got to work for us. That's what they told this prisoner. So he got out. He joined the Greensboro branch of the Ku Klux Klan, which reportedly had more agents in it than it had naive members. A typical Klan cell would have a member from ADL, a member from JDL, possibly B'nai B'rith, a BATF, what else? I don't know. It's typically would have 5 or 6, 7, 8 secret agents as members. So we have 11 people in the cell. Like most of them are not even sincere, and the rest of them are just like not very significant people are potent. They're just people are easily imposed on, usually, to join stuff because they, for social acceptability, whatever. So this agent, he loaded up a car with members of that Ku Klux Klan cell, and there was a demonstration in Greensboro, North Carolina against the Ku Klux Klan. So this agent, he loaded the trunk with loaded firearms. He drove the car into the middle of the anti-Klan demonstration, took keys out of the ignition, opened up the trunk, hollered at the demonstrators, "You wanted the Klan? Here they are." And then he made himself scarce, while all these guys in the car, I guess they'd gotten out of the car by then, were surrounded by the demonstrators who were about to do violence to them. And the only way they could defend themselves was to get these firearms out of the trunk that the agent had left in there loaded. And that's the story of the Greensboro Massacre. 4 communists were slain, according to the report. Now, all these events could easily, like that was what you call it wasn't staged, it was kind of provoked the way the story was told to me by people, who were involved in the Ku Klux Klan down there in the FBI. I mean, people who had contacts, That's about it. If you want to know more about me, I'll show you how to find out the easy way. This is my tale of how I went from being tortured by the MK Ultra program and abused by my parents and others to being in heaven on earth. Thank you for coming.